we joining from? Where are we joining from? Can we actually let me know? I am Aziz from Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Okay, thank you very much. Daniel says Daniel Boateng from joining from Accra, Ghana. Thank you. Ade Shola Ade Eko Shola Ibadan, Nigeria. That's good. Thank you very much. Likewise, Jay Kwesi says he's from Ghana. All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. From Ghana. Who else? Who else? Okay, thank you, Rashidat, joining from Toronto, Canada. Great, 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 great. Samuel Ibiti from Lagos, Nigeria. Wow, wow, we have a very good people here. People from Africa, from um North America. Can we get someone from Asia? Can we get someone from Asia? If, for instance, you're actually joining us from Asia, let us know. Let us see you. Let's see you. Represent your continent, please, and your country. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, we have 2 minutes to go now. This is 5:08. We are trying to get more people. We just have about few attendees, and we want to actually get more people so that this will really be interactive. Okay, whilst we are waiting for people, can everyone tell us why did you join? Okay, we know, yes, we wanted to talk about Migrate to Canada through the Provincial Nominee Program route, the PNP route, but why exactly did you join this platform? Why did you join? Can you just tell me, why did you join this webinar? Can you tell us the reason behind your joining this webinar? And it's very important we know the reason so that we'll know how to fine tune, you understand, uh, service for you. We'll know how to fine tune our webinar. You understand, our webinar for you. Why did you join today? Why did you join? Let me know. What did you want to learn? Oh, Sammy. Okay, Sammy from Lagos, Nigeria. Good. Okay, I think that was the last chat. Why did you join us? Can you give us the information behind the reason why you joined us? People that are just joining, okay, nice. I'm seeing quite a lot of people joining right now. Tell us where you are joining us from. Samuel Ebite said, yeah, to learn more about migration as a young African. Very compelling reason. Thank you very much. Jay Kwesi said, hoping to get more insight about the PMP and decide better that. Okay, better between that and the school route. Wow, very important, very compelling reason. Okay, who else? Why did you join us today? Why did you feel it's worthwhile, you understand, to actually be part of this session today? Is very important, as I am actually trying to bring up the slide right now. I would be getting your reasons, and I want to really get your reasons so that I know how to again fine tune what we have for you today. All right. So we just have about 2 people telling us, you understand. Who else? Okay. Adeshola Adeko said, because I need an easy route to Canada. Very good. Wonderful. All right, please, if you could see my screen right now, this is 5:11 in Nigeria and 12:11 here in Canada PM. So if you could see, I'm trying to share my screen right now. If you could see, we have quite a lot of things for you. So it really takes some time to actually finish up what we have today. So if you could see what we have, if you could see our content, please let me know. Let us know that you are seeing the slides. Well, it's still the what do they call it now? It's still the intro that you could possibly be seeing at your site, just the title page, or let me say the front page. So the front slide. Let me know who else, what is the reason behind you joining us today? Where are you joining us from? What is your name? Let us know about you generally. We really need that so that we know how to really streamline what we have for you today. All right. So I'm not really getting any responses yet about if you are trying to, or if you are seeing our screen. Let us know. Okay. I can't see your slide though. Oh, okay. Daniel says he can't see the slides. Let's see. Sorry about that. Um, I'm trying to see if I could Check it back. Okay, okay, okay. Who else can't see the screen? It's only Daniel that actually give us the updates. If you can see the screen from your side, let's know. All right, I think the technology is really taking some time right now. If you could see it, if you could see it, please let me know. Please let me know. It's very important so that you are clearly seeing and understanding what we are going to be talking about today. All right. We are still at the front page. I want to make sure everyone sees what we have on the screen before I start. Normally, you should see the flag of Canada. You should see Migrate to Canada through provincial. Basically, the what they call it, what we actually had in stock for you today. So, if you could see, just let me know. Oh, I can see it now. Good, great, Daniel. Thank you very much for actually interacting. Very, very, very good of you. All right, all right, all right. So now that we have started, I would like to first of all talk about what we have migrate to Canada through the Provincial Nominee Programs, the PNP route. And I have a very strong promise for you today. It's very important I talk about this promise. And the promise is that in this webinar, I am going to show you how to migrate to Canada permanently, you understand, and quickly with your family, or how you can travel or to Canada alone, how you can relocate to Canada alone. And it's very important if you are going alone or if you are going with your family, we are going to be doing justice to how all of you would actually relocate to Canada. And I want to make it clear the Canada immigration PMP strategy I will share with you today. You need to note that this PMP route is a route that has been available for quite some while, but many people, or I would say people know about it but don't understand it. Some people know about it and they tried it because they didn't get success in it the first time. They just left it. And some people don't even know what it all entails. So I want to tell you that this PMP route can work for international students. If, for instance, you have already relocated, maybe like we have some of our clients who relocated to the UK firstly to go and study. So it could work for you if you're in the UK, the US, you are studying internationally, or even in Canada, as we have some people here in Canada as well. It can also work for temporary foreign workers. If, for instance, you are a visitor or you are a tourist, because we have had a lot of people reach out to us stating that yes, they just landed this place as a visitor and they would like to actually get to, you understand, change their status from visitor or temporary residence to permanent residence. Also, would also help people that have been rejected or people that got refused of a particular visa application, would also help you to actually get to understand all what this is all about today. If you are a tech professional as well, this is very, very important to you and necessary for you to make to take note of. If you're a manager, you're a director or supervisor in any field of study, it's or field of work, it's very important you know this. A business owner or a self-employed like me when I was in Nigeria, this is very important and useful to you as well. If you are an English or French speaker or and French speaker, is very also important to you. If you are someone that you do not have high LTS, you do not have travel history, you're just more or less like me when I started. I didn't have anything. I haven't traveled to any, you understand, European country, Asian country, American country. You understand, it would definitely be of help to you. So it is for Africans, it is for Caribbeans, it's for Europeans, Americans, Australians, virtually every kind of person you can think of. This webinar is for you. Now, it is for skilled workers such as engineers, scientists, doctors, teachers, lawyers, and so on. If you are in any, you understand, profession, whether you're a tradesperson, you're a carpenter, you're a tailor, you're a plumber, you're a painter, you're a hairstylist, you understand, barber, truck driver, or salesperson, this is definitely going to be of assistance and very, you understand, immense benefits to you. If you are basically anyone that wants to migrate to Canada, you understand, permanently and quickly, this webinar is definitely, and I say it again, definitely for you. And what is our mission basically? Our mission in this webinar is to actually help you. You understand? Because I know this PNP program works. You understand? Because I also used this PNP program to actually relocate to Canada myself. You understand? And I used it to move my business as well. You understand? And to also help other clients like you. I help clients who are secondary school graduates. You understand? University graduates with low honors, maybe 2-1, 2-2, or even pass. I help people with immigrants with low or even no IELTS or TEF or TCF Canada scores. I also help people who have few months of experience. This PMP route would help you if you don't even have any Canadian work experience before, or you have less of foreign work experience. Definitely it will be of immense benefit to you. And if you are someone that you are already above the ages of 45 or 50, it will definitely be of help to you. And if you are entrepreneurs, you understand, with businesses that are not fully operational, businesses that have not really taken up, you can definitely be of this can definitely be of assistance to you, and many more. So that being said, let's really move on. I want you to know something. This works based on my experience and based on the experience of others. Do you understand? So it is not just theory. I'm not just going to be giving you theory. I'm more of a practical person here. I would give you practicals because I love this quote by L.H. Handwick. He says, "A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an opinion." If people give you, and most times I see people outside just giving opinions about PMPs, opinions about Canada immigration, opinions about permanent residence. But if you ask them, have you tried it yourself? If you ask them, have you understand, moved with it or gotten a nomination from a province and it didn't work out before, most times you would see that 70% out of 10 of 100 will tell you that they have not even tried it before. So you have to note that everyone is as big as their biggest excuse. Most times people give flimsy excuses because they don't want to do things or because they are frightened, they are afraid of what will come out of it. So you have to know there is nothing I can do to help you if you have some limiting beliefs about the possibility of immigration. And that is why I'm trying as much as possible now to make you understand that you must have that firm belief that yes, the possibility of immigration is possible and it would work for you just as it has worked for other people. So, with that being said, let's begin. But before I start, I would like to also indulge you. Which kind of visa do you want to actually apply for? Some people have talked about study permits, some have talked about relocating to Canada, but didn't specify the kind of visa they want to talk about, or some have not even like some have not even found out what PNPs are all about. Some that even know what PNP about is about, they don't know in depthly what each of them stands for. So please, if you know about PNP, write it on the comment section. Let me know what you know about it. Give me a kind of example of the PNP program you know about. Just write it on the chat section. Let me know that yes, at least I have people that really understand what we are talking about today. Do you understand? Just put a type of PMP program that you know about, or you have tried before, or you have heard someone do before that was successful or that was not successful. Put it down in the comment section and let me know that you are actually following us right now. Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. I see you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. Really appreciate that. Other people that are on this channel can also subscribe to this YouTube channel right now, and that's why we're actually having it on YouTube. So it is going to be a content that will be definitely readily available for you, not just only today. You can always come back consecutively to actually watch this on and on and on again. And I would just put this as a disclaimer: if we are not able, you understand, to finish up or to round up today, we may have to continue tomorrow, and because we have quite a lot of things for you today. Okay, thank you, Toby at Kindele. You said you can see the slides. Okay, now moving on. First things first, for those of you who do know me, I want to address the elephant in the room. It's because some people may not really know me. um People may want to ask, is A.O.S, who is A.O.S firstly, and is A.O.S finally going to sell us something? Now, I have two goals for this webinar. These two particular goals, two major goals. One, I want to teach you what I did to migrate to Canada via Provincial Nominee Programs, the PNP route. Now, the reason why this is very, very important is because I did it myself. I didn't do it for myself alone. I did it for my common law partner. And I've also been instrumental in helping countless of people to actually do it, to move to Canada, you understand, through the PNP route. So I know this thing works. And two, I am going to sell you an immigration package offer. But before you actually raise your eyebrow, it's been 3 months I've been in Canada, and I want to give you this special package that I've been working on since I landed, because again, I it is something that I know that would work for you. Though I can't tell you what it is yet because I've not really talked about what the provincial nominee programs are all about, but you will find out in a moment as soon as we actually get into the content of this webinar. But what I can tell you right from the very get go is that this package that I'm going to be talking about at the end of this, you understand, presentation, it is more than a gift card. Do you understand? And it is what? It is less than a Tesla car. For people that know, Tesla is one of my dream cars. If you have a Tesla here in Canada, man, even the Tesla cars I see are wonderful, very good, gorgeous, from the high class people. So it is less than a Tesla. So you won't be spending the worth of a Tesla for getting this package. Now, moving on. Now, here's the caveat. If I don't make do on the first goal, and what is the first goal? The first goal to educate you on the provincial nominee programs that are quite available. Then I insist you that you not buy anything I ever offer on this webinar or any other webinar after this. And this is it. However, if by some small miracle I am able to show you all I said, then you absolutely have to pay attention to my offer that I will make at the end of this webinar. And do we have a deal, everyone? Do we have a deal? If we have a deal, let me know. Do we have a deal, everyone, before we get started? All right. Um, the way I'm going to present this webinar is that I want to actually do two things. Okay, thank you very much. I want to do two things because I find out that many people will just talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I want to tell you that you have to walk the walk if you are going to talk the talk. In fact, I state it categorically that is the work that only it is the work is the only talk that matters, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So a lot of what I would do in this webinar today is that I'm going to show you what I did firstly, and I would talk about what I did, you understand, at the same time, simultaneously, as we go on this webinar. Now, for example, my first international immigration, you understand, that I did answer the question, how do I migrate? I never migrated to any country. I never migrated to anywhere apart from Canada. You understand? In fact, I had a blank virgin passport. Or let me say, not really virgin, but I do consider it as virgin because I actually traveled to Benin Republic from Nigeria for just one day for, you understand, excursion. So I don't consider it a migration. I don't consider it something that is worthwhile because even without the passport, I could have gone with just my French, you understand, student ID card. But this is very important. The first international immigration answered how I migrated. And how I migrated, the answer to this is that number one, I was issued two notification of interest from Ontario, the province of Ontario, the major province, you understand, the capital, and Quebec, which is like a kind of the other major city of Canada. And I was given the notification of interest through the provincial nominee programs of these provinces. For many of you, you may not know what notifications of interest is right now, but I'll tell you as we get into the presentation. Two, I was nominated to finally relocate because there's a difference between notification of interest and nomination. I was also given notification or provincial nomination to relocate by the province of Ontario. That was the second thing. The third thing is that I was invited to apply for Canada permanent residence after my nomination. Do you understand? And I know that this has worked in the past before I got nominated, before I got invited. And I know that for years to come, it is still going to work because the government of Canada really, really needs people to actually come in through this route. Now, this particular package that I'm talking about, that I will talk more about in this webinar, also helped Diko and his family to move from Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria to Manitoba, Canada. Do you understand? And this was his conversation with me when he told me that he finally landed on Sunday. That it's my pleasure to tell you that me and my family landed in Canada as a permanent resident. I was so glad to hear from him after some time about his trip. Now, also, it also helped Mrs. Abiyua with her friend, Mrs. Adaba, with their families, not only themselves. It helped, just like you saw with Diko went with his wife and his child. Likewise, Mr. Yua and Mrs. Adaba actually went with their husbands, one, and with their children, two. The first one, Mrs. Abiyua, had two children, and Mrs. Adaba had about three children, if I'm right. Now, and they were able to relocate. They were able to migrate from Lagos, Nigeria, to the two provinces of Alberta and Manitoba, Canada, through the PNP route. Now, I have to tell you something that this woman, Mrs. Abiyua, for instance, actually thought we were a scam the first time. She thought we were fraud the first time. You understand? Since 2020, when she first got across to us. But this woman was on our email list. For some of you that joined us right now, you were on our email list. You got to learn about this through our email list. So she has been on our email list for years, be seeing what we were doing. But it was only in early 2021 when our friend, Mrs. Adaba, actually got, you understand, the TEF Canada results from, you understand, actually coaching with us and got a relocation sorted through the provincial route. That was when she got serious afterwards to actually work with us. And then, you understand, she had to pay almost double, even more than double, of the price she was meant to pay initially, you understand, to actually get this sorted out for her. And it's very important because I love this conversation I had with her on WhatsApp when she was actually giving us a detailed, you understand, review about what she got to learn from us. Now, moving on, um, also, tens of thousands of people, other real immigrants, have actually used this immigration method, the PNP route, to move to Canada. You understand? These are series of people. You understand? Okay, this was Mrs. Abie, you are the one at the right hand side. Mr. Lawal, who is a doctor, is a doctor from the Kwara State University, Kwasu. You understand? He was in Kwasu as a doctor. In one department, but now he has actually relocated to Canada and is now lecturing here in Canada. Likewise, Sheye Oluwatosin is someone that has also been working in Lagos before he left for, you understand, Canada, before he left for precisely British Columbia, you understand, Canada, through the provincial route. So this works, and I know that yes, this can also work for you. Now, so I can feel confident saying that this travel package, you understand, is real. You understand? It is not a scam. It is not something that would, you understand, not work if you know how to go about it. You understand? And it is a proof. I, for instance, I am a proof to the fact that it works. And I want to use my own journey and those of others leading to this webinar as one particular thing. The proof that the stuff I'm about to talk about actually works. To migrate to Canada today, and subsequently it would also work for you too. Now, because as I said before, I wasn't an immigrant with a travel history. I didn't have a kind of passport like this. I didn't travel to any American country. I didn't travel to any European country. I didn't travel to any Caribbean, no particular country before actually relocating to Canada through this route. In fact, this was my own international passport only 12 months ago. You understand? In fact, if you could see well the issue date and the expiry date. The issue date was September 2013 and the expiry date was September 2018. My international passport, the very first one I ever got in Nigeria, actually got cancelled because it expired in 2018. And I wasn't able to use it to travel, apart from, like, for instance, the Benin Republic I talked about, which I don't consider as a travel. You understand? This was only me 12 months ago. Do you understand? But after that 12 months ago, after seeing my passport that time, this is me today. Now I'm able, after I renewed my passport the second time, I renewed it in October 2018. You understand? And it's going to sadly expire this year. I made a promise to myself that I would ensure that I relocate to a country. Do you understand? Before the expiration of my international passport. And yes, this is my international passport. I don't know why it's blurry here. It will still be much clearer as we go on in the presentation. Now, I was able to immigrate into Canada as a permanent resident through the provincial nomination by the virtue or the, you understand, the acceptance of this provincial nomination program route. Now, and I did this spending only 2 days per month dedicated to my visa applications, with the rest of my time focusing on my business in Nigeria. I didn't really focus too much on it because you understand, um, that time when we started, we were having backlogs. You understand, we were having backlogs, and the government of Canada, through the Minister of Immigration, Sean Fraser, was still trying to actually work on tackling the backlogs that were available. So I didn't really spend much time. But it was during this time, within the first 4 months, our relocation statuses got improved. You understand? It changed forever. The first PNP NOI that I got was after the third month, or was within the third month rather, within the third month that I applied for my permanent residence, or for my, you understand, Provincial Nominee Program. Secondly, the second PNP NOI, as I said before, stands for notification of interest. It came in the fourth month, you understand, after I applied. And meaning, we can help you get these results and more, you understand, without stressing so much on it, if you actually learn about how the Canadian immigration processes works. Now, moving on, I used and mastered all the 8 methods, all the 8 processes that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to explain shortly, you understand, in this webinar, to actually relocate myself and to relocate my Canadian common law partner and even other clients that we have worked with. Now, because if you know what you are doing, you don't need a lot of time. You understand? It's very important because, as I told you, I just used 2 days within a month. You don't need a lot of time to crack up this thing. You just need to do the right things, you understand, at the right time, in the right way. So I'm going to be talking, or I'm going to be delivering to two types of people today in this webinar. Firstly, I'm going to be delivering to people who want to help themselves. You want to help yourself, you understand, for people who need to take action now and take care of themselves and their families. And I promise you something, I will help you get closer to that today. So you are going to want to stay until the end of this, because I'm going to deliver on that big time. Secondly, I'm going to help others. For those of you who are in the position to spread the word out, I'm going to show you how it is in your best interest to help everyone else. And if you decide to join me, I will show you how we can actually accomplish both of our missions together. Is that fair enough? Do I hear any comments on the chat section? Is that fair enough? Can we actually move on? Do we have a deal? Now, who here would like to migrate to Canada quickly instead of being where you are right now? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Who here, please respond to my questions. If you are here and you like to migrate to Canada quickly instead of being where you are presently, let me know. Let me know on the chat section. Put it down on the chat section. Now, so rather than talk about the ways we could migrate, I want to take the reverse approach. The ways we could migrate, I'll still talk about it, especially the PNP route. I'll still talk about it, but I want to take the reverse approach because I found out that a lot of people know what is most likely on the Canadian websites, but they don't know the salient information that would allow you to actually get approved quickly to actually relocate to Canada. And how could you guarantee you would be rejected a visa or stay back where you had to begin with? If, for instance, you don't take this serious, how can you guarantee that you can be rejected? How you can guarantee you could be rejected is if you apply for study, just like some people stated, or work permit, or visitor visa. That means temporarily, majorly the temporary residence pathways. And why do I say that? The reason why I say that is because the statistics shows it. Now, based on the visa rejection rate, as of 2019, 35%, you understand, of people were rejected. Now, as of 2022, which was last year, 60% of visas are now being rejected. And what that means, just to make you really understand what we are trying to say right now, what that means is that if you are applying for any temporary residence visa, be it the study permit, the work permit, you understand, the visitor visa, we can be pretty sure that most applicants get rejected or not even selected 3 out of 5 attempts. And I have proof of this. For instance, is a particular person that reached out to us. He got rejected the first time, the second time, the third time, and he applied for study permit, applied for, you understand, study permit the second time, applied for work visitor visa the third time. Why did he get rejected the third times or the three times? Is because, you understand, it's the temporary residence pathway. Sometimes we have found out that you may apply the best ways, you may put a lot of things in your application, but the quota is not enough for the amount of people that are actually applying. Because if, for instance, in a year they want to get 500,000 students into the country and 1.5 million are applying, definitely you to know that out of every three people, you understand, they would only accept one. Do you understand? And if you look at this, you may laugh at this, but some of you are falling into this right now because your applications for, you understand, visitor visa, for study permit, for work permit may actually be showing this refuse, or rejected every time on your dashboard, and it doesn't really help you. I must tell you, because it affects your subsequent applications. Now, let's assume you even got the visa approved the very first or second time, just like one of our clients, Warrior, who got a study permit after consulting with us after the first rejection he got from his visa. You understand? The first rejection he got, he consulted with us and we explained to him how to go about it through consultation. And you understand, we made him know what he was doing wrong. He got his approved the second time. You understand? And he appreciated us with it, about it. And here he is now in Canada. In fact, precisely he's in Ontario, Canada, here with me. Now, if you or your family are not rich enough, you would get into these similar problems. The similar problems people like Warrior may actually get into even after getting their visas approved. Firstly, staying alone without your family members, your spouse, and your children. Many people are here staying, having to actually leave their people back home in order to come into the country. Even if it is a smart move, as considered by many people, it is not the best move, I must actually tell you, because it may finally affect the spouse and the children when they are trying to actually come into the country, you understand, after you. Also, not being able to pay fully for your tuition fees and rent actually affect many international students, because many people fall into these problems when they get here. And it is when I came into Canada that I saw Oyinbo. If you are from Nigeria, I saw Oyinbo that was begging. Do you understand? When I went to the beach, you understand, Wasaga Beach, which I think I shared at the beginning of this session, I saw Oyinbo that was begging. Do you understand? Because, you understand, if you don't plan yourself well, if you don't come into the country the right way, you can easily get to become homeless. In fact, the statistics in Canada that I saw recently showed that some people are just one paycheck away from being homeless. And why? Because many people don't get what they are actually worth when they actually get a job. Because if you even get a job, the job may not provide you enough money for groceries, talk less of even tuition fees or rent. You understand? So having to also stay in shelters, in school dormitories, or not even having an accommodation at all. Like, for instance, this is a particular refugee, you understand, that was actually sleeping on the road. Do you understand? In Canada, because there are no accommodations to actually get them. Yes, we understand that some people may actually have issues back at home that they faced while they were coming into Canada. But I want you to know that there are a lot of people here that are homeless already. A lot of people here that are sleeping on the street already. So don't add to the figure. Do you understand? Not getting a Canadian job fast also affects international students. There are some people that have gotten student visas. They came into Canada and they were not easily able to get a job. And especially for people that are picky, that don't want to even do any kind of job, most times they don't get the jobs that they really want and they become depressed as a result of that. Now, there's a reason these immigrants choose to migrate through provincial nominee programs. There's a reason. You understand? Mr. Shola did it. Do you understand? Mr. Patrick did it. Mrs. I as well, and my common law partner did it. We migrated through the provincial nominee programs because we knew there was a catch to it. And what is the catch? The catch is that, one, you enjoy living in Canada like a Canadian, or a permanent resident. Do you understand? You have the ability to live and work anywhere in Canada. For some students, you cannot leave your campus. For some, you cannot leave your province. You have to stay back and do what you stated that you want to do in Canada. You may not be able to leave. You understand your work if you get a work permit, because we have what we call the employer specific work permit. That means it is restricting you to work with that just one particular employer. And if maybe tomorrow the employer just feel vexed about you, you understand, and is not even willing to see you again, the employer can tell you that yes, your contract is terminated and you have to get back to your country without, you understand, actually having the opportunity to stay back in Canada. Likewise, you also get the opportunity to improve the health of yourself and your family. You understand? Because there's access to free universal health care. Your medications is free, your surgery is free, hospital stay is free, and emergency services is free, maternity services is free, general practitioners is free. Now, I heard that many people will state on YouTube that we are currently that it's difficult to get universal health care. And yes, it is difficult to get it, but you have to note it that when you are in a state of emergency, you get it freely. And even with we being in this country, I have had some situations where I had some headaches, I had some issues. I walked into the pharmacy and I was attended to swiftly. It didn't take me an hour to be there. Do you understand? So even if people are saying that yes, it's difficult, me, I have not been in that experience before where I walked into a pharmacy or a clinic. Even my common law partner has been to a clinic and she was able, you understand, to actually get the medications, the tests. They even did tests. They did a kind of test for her and it was free. Do you understand? She didn't pay any money for the test. It was free. In Nigeria, we know how much we use to actually pay for an X-ray. You understand? But if you come in as a temporary worker, as a temporary student, you pay for these things, you don't have it free. You understand? But as a permanent resident, you can actually leverage on the opportunity. Likewise, you also get access to social services. You understand? Because the government is willing to help you. If you are someone that, like, for instance, we actually spoke to one of our colleagues who has been here for quite a while. And she told us when she was about to labor, when she came in as a permanent resident with her husband, and she was, you understand, pregnant at that particular time, she was able to walk into into the hospital with a health card, which we will still show to you another time in this webinar, and they treated her freely. How much will you pay in Nigeria? Which I know if you have to do CS, I know how much the government, I know how much this what they call it, the hospital would collect from you, you understand, in order to treat you well, you understand, to your satisfaction. Now you also get unemployment benefit. If you're unemployed as a permanent resident, there are some stipends you get. And the truth is, we are already getting some stipends. Even though I won't consider myself unemployed, we are still getting some stipends as I am self-employed. You understand? Disability, if you have a disability, the government would also take care of you. Family allowances, some families have been getting it. It's not a force. You understand? Some family have been getting it, and even till yesterday, we still spoke with someone that stated that yes, he is getting some family allowances for daycare. You understand? Pension, old age, or survivors, you also get benefits. There are old age homes here, for instance. You can also work in and get benefits for if you actually come in as a permanent resident. Now, another thing is family sponsorship. Do you understand? You can reunite with your family. For instance, your family is already in Canada, and yes, you are back in your own country. You can reunite with your family under the family sponsorship through this particular provincial pathway. Now, another thing is that you get free primary. In fact, people initially always talk about free primary and secondary education. I added tertiary in this discussion. Why did I add tertiary in this discussion? Because I found out, which I'll still show you proof of, that you can actually get expense paid education for your children and for yourself. Do you understand? For your children is one, as a permanent resident. For yourself and your spouse, you understand, adults, you can also get benefits, tertiary benefits, because I have seen my partner actually having access to that benefit right now, studying in a college that is what thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for free. You understand? So I always kind of looking into myself that why are people wasting money when they can actually get some of these things they pay hugely to universities, colleges, polytechnics in Canada freely. Now, another thing is that you become a passport holder that has access to 188 visa free countries. Now, even with my permanent residence card that I have right now, I am able, do you understand, to actually visit some countries without visa. But if you now become or you transit into becoming a Canadian citizen, you can as well have access. These are Nigerians, these are Africans just like you that now have access as a result of the virtue of the Canadian citizens or citizenship to actually visit 188 visa free countries without stressing on visa again. So thank you very much, Undalawa. You said, how can you get the nominee placement? We are going to be talking strictly about that as we, you understand, go into the crux of this discussion today. Khadija said you are joining from Oshogbo, Osun State. Thank you very much for joining us right now. Let's quickly continue with what we have. Now, another benefit you actually have as a permanent resident when you come in as a permanent resident is that you have protection of your life and your property. Do you understand? You have protected rights. According to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom, you can do anything you want. You have mobility rights, you have equality rights, you have dual lingual right. The only thing that I see that we cannot do as permanent resident in Canada now is that we can't vote. I have started my business in Canada. I have, you understand, we're in the process of getting some properties in Canada. You understand? So you can be, do, and access everything the Canadian citizens are accessing. You understand? Apart from voting. You understand? And you can even work for the government. You understand? You can work for the government because when I was actually coming into Canada, based on my proficiency in English and French, I was actually interacted with by what? By some what they call it? So, some workers in the government of Canada stating that, oh, if I would like to work for the government of Canada, I can work for the government of Canada because I have that bilingual, you understand, bilingual right. Now, and that is all great for them, but what if you are in the reverse situation? What if you want to relocate to Canada through the PNP and you don't know how to go about it? Just like Ondalawa Nelly has actually stated that he doesn't know how to do it. He wants to learn how to do it. So Ondalawa, maybe I should ask you because that name I'm trying to get. Where are you from? Can you just put it on the chat section? Let me know where you're calling from. Is that South Africa or where, please? Now, then that is where we come into the picture. We come into the picture to help you to actually get your Canada PNP PR pathway. You understand? Work done as swiftly, as easily, and as cheaply as possible. Now, moving on, the bottom line here that I'm trying to explain to you is that migrating into Canada with the right pathway or package is as important as moving abroad. Because if you don't relocate well with the right option, you can as well be screwed when you finally land in Canada. There are some people that from the airport, when we landed as a PR, and many people saw that, oh, they were asking us, how did you land? Which visa? Some people will even assume, some people were assuming for us that, oh, okay, these people actually are, you understand, students. And I told them, I'm not a student. I'm not a student. Do you understand? Don't say I'm a student. I'm not a student. I came in with PR as a PR resident. You understand? Because people assume, but when they heard that we came in through PR, they appreciated what we had more. In fact, when we were in front of the visa officers, he didn't waste time to ask us series of questions. He could have possibly asked international students, visitors, temporary workers. Because I want you to understand it, you have a leverage when you come in as a permanent resident, period. Now, as much as I could keep hinting on this point, I know that I have to educate you more on how to go about the process, which is the reason why you came here, the process of migrating to Canada through the Provincial Nominee Program, the PNP route, now more than ever. So today, I want to also tell you that here is what I am going to be educating you about. Here is what I am going to do in the short time we have together. Firstly, I'm going to share a few breakthrough experiences I had when learning how to migrate to Canada cheaply, which saved me up to 30,000 Canadian dollars. You understand? That I could have actually spent, let's say I was coming in as a student, as an international student. You understand? Having to battle with living expenses, with tuition, with even if you come as a temporary resident, you may not spend so much. You understand? Maybe like a temporary foreign worker, but you will spend time because we have had, okay, I met someone at Walmart the last time, or I think it was Shoppers Drug Mart, and she said she has been here for 4 years and have not been able to switch from temporary resident visa, which was temporary foreign worker, you understand, to permanent residence. Because again, people feel that if you come into Canada temporarily, then you can become PR after staying long. It's a lie. You can't become PR until you apply for PR. So here's what I'm going to do within the short time, as I said, we have together. After giving you my experiences, which is the first thing we talked about, I am also going to give you a bunch of ideas for your fast Canada immigration. And lastly, I would invite you to join me on a journey to help thousands of immigrants, you understand, to come to this beautiful country, you understand, just like you. So here's a visual representation of our journey together. Firstly, I want to start with your ticket to a new and better life in Canada. And I'm not talking about your travel ticket, your airplane ticket. No, I'm talking about the eligibility process, which is the first thing we are going to talk about. Now, the eligibility process, I'm going to be talking about it in three major ways. Firstly, I'm going to talk about how I learned about the eligibility process. Two, I will talk about how I used it in my Canada relocation process. And three, I'm going to talk about where you can use it today. So, going back to what I talked about, I'm going to show you and I'm going to tell you what exactly you need to do to get started. Now, here's how I learned it. I remember when I was in Nigeria, I was a director at A.O.S Academy, very young director at that, 25 years old then, and I was struggling in my business. In fact, more so, I was not really very happy playing local. I wanted to migrate to Canada fast, but there was an issue. You understand? I didn't know how to go about the process because I was in the language learning and examination industry. You understand? And I thought Canada needed language coaches like me. That was a wrong mentality, a wrong assertion. I thought, okay, because for instance, I had my IELTS score, I also had my TEF Canada score. I thought that, okay, it was a no brainer for me to actually get my permanent residence. You understand? I had gotten my ECA done, which we'll talk about slightly subsequently. I had gotten band 8.0 in IELTS and NCLC level 10. You understand? And which was C1 in the TEF Canada result. And I had applied for express entry. You understand? Profile. I had built my express entry profile and just waited there. And I never got selected. In fact, I never got selected for some minor problems in my application. Okay, thank you, Nelson. Nelson Dalawa, you said you are from Uganda. Wow, that's a very good one. Thank you very much for joining us. I never got selected using the NOC code 41210. And I want you to note that down. That is the college and other vocational instructors. Why? Because you, as I told you before, I thought yes, I was a language coach. I was teaching people in my language academy. You understand? And it was just a no-brainer for me to just focus on that for my for my express entry pathway. I didn't do PNP, then I was focused on express entry. So at the time, candidates of the Federal Skilled Worker Program were not invited, just like I said earlier, due to COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown. And likewise, even the what? The backlog. So I checked, what I did was that I checked the recent, and this is very important. This is what you need to actually take note of. I checked the recent, you understand, invitations being issued and easy PR route that I myself could actually use to relocate to Canada. And mind you, I found out some interesting facts. I found out that the Federal Skilled Worker Program, which I wanted to kill myself on, was not being selected. You understand? I didn't even bring about it right now, but I want to show you what is currently happening in the realm of PR. If you see, based on the invitations that we had from July 4th, 2023 to August 15th, you will see that Federal Skilled Worker Program was not part, though it was added to the no program specified. But what I'm trying to say is that as at then, when I was applying, do you understand? They weren't even selecting no program specified, which was all programs. They weren't even inviting Federal Skilled Worker Program. What they were inviting were majorly Provincial Nominee Program. You understand? Nominees. So what I just did was to just align myself to that. Do you understand? I just wanted to align myself. And in aligning yourself to that, I want you to note that what you have to do now, do you understand? To use this thing that I learned is to first of all check your eligibility criteria. Not every provincial nominee program route or stream would work for you. Please note that, because some people always focus so much on things that because the fact that a friend used one stream does not mean you as well will use that stream. The fact that okay, your family got selected through this route doesn't mean your family member, you as a family member of that person, would also get selected through that stream. So you have to check and choose a province or territory you want to go to based on your eligibility criteria. You have to look at and choose 3 to 4 best pathways for your PR plan. The duration of your visa, you have to also look into it, and the program processing time. You have to also look at the CRS eligible score you could get even before you start worrying about gathering your documents. You have to also look at the cost analysis. How much would you incur from the very beginning of the process to the end? And also choose the new NOC. It may not be tech codes, it may be the new NOC codes based on different routes, or different pathways, which I'll talk about shortly. All I just want you to note is that what I did is that I focused on tech NOC codes. You understand, for my job prospects in Canada. Now, that being said, I want you to go through the first. I want to talk about the second process I took. You understand, while trying to work on this. The second process I took was after I did my pre-evaluation process, which I will still elaborate more on subsequently. I started gathering my already hard documents. That was the next stage I actually took. And the next stage you too would have to actually take is your credential evaluation if you are learned, if you are educated, and you have maybe your bachelor's, your BSc, your MSc, any credential you have. Now, I used the wes.org to actually evaluate, to apply for my educational credential assessment, ECA, for immigration purposes, and I paid for the West reference number. I also read the document requirements and sent my BA transcript, because then I just had my bachelor's. My BA transcript was sent and my certificate was sent. And they verified my credentials and created my what? They created my report. After creating it, lastly, I waited for about 6 to 9 weeks to actually get the report, which I downloaded and I actually added to my what? To my PNP portal. Now, I also want to tell you that if you want to actually get started with it, this is how the educational credential assessment works. This is how I use this for my own Canada relocation. Just like before, I had the WES assessment report available. You understand? Just like I said, I applied for express entry profile. I had my WES assessment. You understand? It had been available with me since about, I think, 2018. Yes, I had it since, like, is it 2018 or 2020? 2020, I think. 2020. And it was even valid for a whole 5 years. So even though I had it 2020, I didn't use it then. I didn't use it in 2021, but I used it in 2022, and it was very much available. It was very much useful for me when I actually used it. But some of you may argue that, okay, which other organizations can you actually use to actually get your WES done? You can actually use other designated organizations by the Canadian Immigration, you understand, like Comparative Education Services, University of Toronto, School of Continuing Studies, if for instance you're in Ontario already, or even if you are not, you can use International Credential Assessment Service of Canada and send your credentials abroad. You can use World Education Services, just like I used, International Qualifications Assessment Services, ICAS, just like I used, or International Credential Evaluation Services, British Columbia, um, British Columbia, Institute of Technology, just like other people also use as well. Now, the benefit of you actually going through the PNP route is endless. We have talked about some benefits, but I also want to point on the fact that the PNP, similar to the express entry route, is a point-based system. And there are some PNP that are linked to express entry. There are some that are not linked to express entry. But I always tell people it is not about the points, because I found out that I had a lot of points, you understand, in my first attempt, but I wasn't selected. So it's not about just getting points, it's about you getting strategic points that makes you get a better chance of being selected. Very important. With the West ECA I did, I was able to get about 120 additional points in express entry profile and the PNP calculator. And the Canada Provincial Nominee Program that I had that I could choose from were numerous. We had the Northwest Territories Nominee Program, we have the Yukon Nominee Program, we have the Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program, we have the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program, we have the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, we have the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, we have the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, we have the Newfoundland and Labrador Provincial Nominee Program, we have the Prince Edward Island Provincial Nominee Program, we have the Nova Scotia Provincial Nominee Program, and the New Brunswick Provincial Nominee Program. So there were quite a lot, and many times you may not be eligible for all of these programs. So you have to select. But before we talk about the selection of the programs, let's talk about the West. Many people always think that yes, if I don't have a master's, I'm not qualified. You don't need a master's to actually qualify for West. You can have your NC. Your NC is valuable, rather, is valuable. You can actually use it to get your diploma equivalence in Canada. You can use your ND, you can use your HND, you can use your PGD, just like some of our clients actually used, as we assisted them with it. So you can get diploma of 2 years recognized, diploma of 3 years recognized, postgraduate certificate of a year recognized. You understand? The only thing is that based on the standards of Canada for provincial nominee program, one out of your results, if you are to use 2 to 3 what they call it, like HND, OND, HND together, you must make sure that one of it at least is at least 3 years. You understand? As a at least 3 years period that you actually studied in that. You understand? In that um, academic institute. Now, you could also use your masters. If you have masters and you have diploma, you have postgraduate, ND, HND, PGD, and you have masters, you don't need to bother about the others. Just use the one that is the highest qualification. That is what the West would always advise you to do. Use the one that you have the highest qualification. Masters is enough for it. It is only when you don't have masters and you have HND and OND, that is when it is advisable to do the both together. And here is how you can actually use it. You can apply for West or any other, you understand, or through any other organization to qualify or to access your college certificate, your polytechnic diplomas, your university degrees. All of them are all approved and all accepted. So that's the second process you have to go through. The third process that you have to go through is a process that is very important and people always shy away from, and that is the language test result process. And I do always tell people everywhere I go, just like when I came into Canada within about 2 weeks, and I met the sister I talked about, I think sister Dupe, also I've forgotten her name now. When I met her in the store at Walmart, I had to tell her, when she was thinking that she would get the provincial nominee, even after staying here for 4 years, I had to inform her that without the language test results, in fact, many people can become PR without credential evaluation, because it's not compulsory for you to be educated to have that that professional qualification. Some people may not go to school up to you. So we have had people that became PR. My common law partner became PR as a secondary school, you understand, graduate, and she never studied in Nigeria, bachelor's, AHND, OND, NC. She never did those. So you can become PR without IELTS or TEF Canada or the language test, but you can't become you can't sorry, let me take that again. You can become PR without the bachelor's, the MSc, the PhD, the PGD, but you can't become PR without the language test. And that is why it is very important for us to talk about it today. Now, back to my story. Once I had settled the eligibility for me to know the kind of provincial nominee program route I would go through, and I had tackled the West credential assessment, I needed to focus on the beasts. And I call them the beasts because many people shy away from this. Many people avoid this test. Even people in Canada also avoid it, even after staying here as a visitor for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Rather, for 6 months, rather, as a visitor, or 2 years, 3 years for, you understand, as an international student, or as, you understand, or as a temporary worker. You need to write it. It's very important. I wrote IELTS and had band 8.0 in 2018. That was the very first IELTS I wrote. And it's very, very important because I put the number 3 in front of IELTS logo because it sounds as a warning for many people. Do you understand? The hard lesson, the real life lesson I learned from writing IELTS, just focusing that, okay, now that I have the degree, let me just, the test result, let me just use it to be training other people and be earning money from them in Nigeria. I made a big mistake because I made that test score waste. You understand? So my advice to you now is never let a perfect test score like this waste. Use it as quickly as possible. I remember that time my listening was 8.0, reading 7.0, writing 7.0, speaking was even 7.5. So it was even above the formula 8777, which I will talk about as we move on this. So I had a perfect result, which gave me very good points for the provincial nominee programs, for the express entry program, and all other programs. But now I didn't use it. I didn't apply for anything in 2018. Do you understand? So I had to learn by force when I tried IELTS the second time and failed with band 7.5 in 2020. Some of you may ask, how come did I fail? I had 7.5. That's a good score. But I failed. Okay, Undwala Nelly said, for language test, can you use Duolingo? Absolutely no. Nada. You can't. Nah, you can't use it. According to the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada website, you must use any of 4 language tests. Either CELPIP, do you understand? Either CELPIP, which is the first one, either IELTS, which is the second one, either TEF Canada, the third one, and TCF Canada, which is the last one, to actually relocate to Canada. So those are the 4. I was hearing one time that they wanted to introduce PTE, which is the Persian testing system. You understand, the PT test examination. I've forgotten what that is now, but they have not officially announced it yet. So you can't use PTE now. You can't use Duolingo. You must use either IELTS, CELPIP, TEF Canada, or TCF Canada examinations. Do you understand? Now, that being said, I think that has been covered. Thank you very much, Ndwala, for asking that wonderful question. Now, let's move on to what we have been talking about. We have been talking about the language test. For the language test, I wrote it the second time. 7.5 was not up to the perfect score I needed to have for for PR. As a result of that, it expired, you understand, after 2 years. And I learned another great lesson from that. I learned because when I passed it the first time, I said, oh, okay, no problem. I don't really need to kill myself so much on the preparation, you understand, as I did the first time. So I just used past questions that I saw online. You understand? Google materials that I saw online, YouTube channel videos that I saw, especially the ones that were very worst. And I have to tell you, never use long gone past questions of 2006, 2005, 2010. You understand? Use recent past questions to study. You understand? Use Google material. Don't use only Google materials. Don't use. You can add these things to your preparation, as I do tell people, but don't let it be the major one you would use to actually prepare for IELTS if you want to prepare for it. Do you understand? It would affect you. Even this score is very okay for international students. Very okay for, you understand, for maybe like work that requires this, but for permanent residents, it gave me a lower score compared to what I needed. You understand? So I needed a band 8.0 overall in the IELTS test result with my BA degree. Let's say I had my MSc, it could have improved my eligibility, but I didn't have it, so I needed to rewrite. in a nutshell, the IELTS. And it is in this place I got to learn about the 7877 formula. Now, some people may ask, what's the 7877 formula? Now, this formula is a formula that many people in the permanent residence industry of Canada would always talk about when it comes to IELTS. To qualify well enough for Express Entry 2 and Provincial Nominee Programs, you need these combinations. You need listening 8.0. At least you can have more than that, because I remembered in this result I had 8.5. So it was more than the 8.0. If you look at what I had the first time, I had 8.0 in this listening, I had reading 7.0, writing, this was 2018 score. So I didn't improve. I one way or the other, my proficiency reduced in 2020, but it skyrocketed in 2022. Do you understand? Because in 2022, the listening was 8.5, the reading was 9.0, the writing was 7.0, and the speaking was 7.5. So that was above even what I needed, which was the formula of 7877, because I had 7.5, I had 9, and I had 8.5. Do you understand? It was above it, and it's better. The more, the better. But on an average, you need what? You need 7877 formula. So I wrote it basically in 2022 and I passed it then. And you too, you can pass it if you actually use the package we'll talk about shortly. Now, many of you may want to ask, what other language test did I take? My search story of the second language test I took started in 2018 as well, because 2018 was when I first wrote my TEF Canada, you understand, my TEF Canada test as well. And the TEF Canada test I had for French in 2018 in Alliance Française de la Rosse, you understand, was B1 parallel. With all my years of speaking French, I remember when I was in school, when I was in university, I started learning French right from 2013. Do you understand? So that means from 2013 down to 2018, which was 5 years, and I wasn't just learning it in school, I was also teaching. I remember I had to go to schools, secondary schools, to teach French. You understand? When I even finished my schooling and youth service, where I went to go and serve, do you understand? Which was Orago Muslim Community Grammar School in Orago, Kwara State, Nigeria. I was both their English teacher and French teacher for GSS 1 down to SS3. But it dawned on me that I had reduced in proficiency in French because I had B1 parallel in 2018. Do you understand? And it didn't stop there. 2020, when I was to write, is it 2020 or 2021? Oh, 2021, I wrote it again. Do you understand? And I even tried now, but from level 4, which was what B1 parallel was in the NCLC level, which is roughly like the CLB, I had NCLC level 5. So I just increased in one level. Do you understand? I had B2 in compréhension écrite, B1 in compréhension orale, B1 in expression écrite, and C1 in expression orale. C'est pas trop génial. It was not all that great. Do you understand? C'est pas trop génial. It was not all that great because I, as a French teacher, having this course really weighed me down, affected my resolve of trying to attempt to work on immigration. But I learned something from all this. Oh, Ndwala Nelly said, which study materials can you use during the preparation? Yes, about the study materials, we are getting into it. As soon as we are done with these explanations, that we in the subsequent, you understand, presentation slides, I will talk about all the materials you need for IELTS, all the materials you need for TEF Canada or TCF Canada. So just move on with me. Thank you, Nelly, for really asking that question. Really appreciate you. Now, what was I saying? What I'm saying is that I moved from level 4 to level 5. Just one level. Do you understand? When it came to what? When it came to my IELTS that I wrote in the year 2020. So I had to take a step back. Do you understand? I had to now relax and now see that, oh boy, guy, you need to improve. This thing is not more a joke. You need to improve. So what I did, which is a strategy I do tell my clients, I do tell my candidates to actually do now is that firstly, you need to practice more. Do you understand? You need to practice more and not just practice. And now take DELF B1, which is Diplôme d'études de la langue française, and DALF, Diplôme d'approfondi de la langue française. Do you understand? Now, I took these two tests before I now went to rewrite the TEF Canada. And mind you, I didn't pass the two because Diplôme d'études de la langue française, B1, you understand? I succeeded in that réussite. That's why I have my, you understand, diploma for it from what they call it, from Chambre de commerce et d'industrie de Paris. So the Paris, I was able to get my what? My diploma from this institute or this ministry from France because I had 74 overall out of 100, and that's a pass mark. Definitely, if you even have above 60, you understand, you already have a diploma from the ministre d'éducation ou bien de pédagogique de française en France. So I was able to actually get this, but I failed C1, and that's why you don't see the diploma here. I failed C1 because I had, I think, if I could remember vividly, I had 43. I was short of 5 points. Yes, for C1, you need to have 50 to actually pass. I was short of 7 points. And that's why they didn't give me a certificate. I didn't even get, you understand, what do they call it? A spreadsheet for that, or you understand, a kind of transcript for that. And it really pained me. I was really pained, I was pissed. But I was able to use the DAF exam to prepare one and to understand and learn more about what I need to actually focus on in TEF Canada. Even though the exams are different, I need to make you understand. TEF Canada is different from DEF-DAF. TCF Canada is different from DEF-DAF. They are different exams, but they are exams. They are both, they speak French and everything. It all comprises of, okay, here in this place, they call it compréhension écrite, production écrite, compréhension orale, and production orale. But it's still quite the same thing. C'est la même chose. It's the same thing. So what I did was that I prepared for this, DEF-DAF. I took it. When I took it, then when I felt that, okay, yes, I'm well prepared for the TEF Canada, then I now want to write it. Oh, Daniel said, do you need both IELTS and TEF Canada before you can get PR? A capital no. You don't need it. You don't need both exams. In fact, we have had situations where people just moved with IELTS, like my common law partner, she moved with only IELTS. We had people, part of our clients, move with only TEF Canada. You understand? You can move with only TEF Canada. We had some people move with only TCF Canada. So it is only one exam you need. You don't need the both. The only reason why people do the both is to get more points. You understand? In order to be more eligible, you understand, for some certain PNP programs. But again, if you are going to choose PNP programs, you could choose the PNP programs that do not focus on you having the two. You understand? Even though there's virtually none that focus on you having the two, they just give you additional points if you have the two. But again, as I said, you don't need the two. Thank you very much, Daniel, for asking that wonderful question. Now, moving on. Now, the eventual success actually came. The success that came was when I now wrote my TEF Canada the third time. Do you understand? And that's why I put 3 in the first place. If you notice the third time, I wrote it again. I passed it the third time with NCLC level 9. Is it 9 or 10 now? I'm not sure. I think it's 9 or 10. And CECR level C1 parallel. Do you understand? I had C1 across compréhension écrite, compréhension orale, expression écrite, expression orale. Do you understand? Exceeding the scores. You understand? My scores were 500 plus. If you looked at the previous ones were 300, 400, 500. The other one I had was like shitty results, basically shitty results. You understand? The first one I had was 100 plus, 200 plus. The second one was 200 plus, 300 plus. The third one, as you could see now, was now 500 points. You understand? And those were these NCLC scores. But apart from that, the equivalence ancien score is the what? The 240, the 299, 399, and 408. So what am I saying in essence is that I had to go through all those process in my quest to get the perfect test result, and I almost maxed out all the language proficiency test points at this level. Do you understand? When I applied, or when I was in the process of applying for PMP, for the official languages point, I had 134. For the first official language, I had 116, which was the what they call it, the IELTS. The second official language was 18, but they gave me additional 25 points for the official language proficiency for French. And French again, language skills points was 50. So if you calculate that together, that was just for my language skills, I was already back in more than 200 points. You understand, for 250 or even 300 points for that alone. And that was what skyrocketed my points, which I would show you in a bit. Now, I need to tell you, rewriting IELTS and TEF Canada 3 times allowed my partner and I to relocate to Canada without spending tens of millions of naira as an international student in Canadian schools. Because trust me, most of the international students I see don't even have that millions. They are benching on the fact that if they come to Canada, do you understand? They would get a work. And see, let me tell you the truth. If you don't come the right way, if you don't come as a PR, you don't have the opportunity to bargain, especially if you are not a tech guru, if you are not an healthcare worker, someone that you have so many skills you can bank on. If you are just like the normal person that is trying to struggle and come to Canada, I tell you, I've heard some horror stories of Canadian employers taking advantage of people coming as an international student, as a temporary foreign worker, as an asylum seeker. You understand? Because they know you don't have choice. You are temporary. You can be chased out of the country anytime. So instead of them paying you maybe, for instance, $18 per hour for a particular job, they could pay you $9. I've heard some horror stories. Instead of $32, they are paying $16. And that's when you factor in the rent, you factor in the tuition. Some people have even had to defer admission. And because of that, it had a dent on their visa. Some even had to go back to, I heard the story of one man that was in Quebec. He had to go back to Nigeria because he wasn't able to afford the tuition, and he wasn't getting a qualification. He wasn't getting a job because he couldn't speak French. You understand? In Quebec, he wasn't getting a job. They weren't taking him serious. So please, I want you to understand it. Rewriting IELTS, it allowed me to relocate without coming to Canada as a visitor, seeking asylum, or becoming a refugee with no accommodation, as you could see on people with people like this in Canada. This is Canada. This is what is happening in Canada. People with their luggages and baggages are staying off the street. I saw it in downtown Toronto, and it was not fun to see. You understand? And without paying millions of naira for a cheap temporary Canadian job for just a 1 to 2 year contract. And when they give you those contracts, they may not want to even renew it. And as a result of that, you may be left in limbo within those times to actually steal again, come back to your country or go back to your home country. So truly, I want you to understand, if I hadn't learned how to prepare for and pass, not only prepare for and pass language tests, my permanent residence dream would have failed. Literally, it would have failed. I and my partner staying here, we would have been forced to restudy. And if I was not forced to restudy myself after the first two failures, changing them into successes within 4 whole years, my brother and sisters, I will not be doing this webinar I'm doing with you today. I would not be doing it. Do you understand? Because I want you to understand the gravity of the decisions people make without really consulting with people that have experienced these things firsthand. Do you understand? It's very, very important. Now, moving on, I want you to understand something. This, if you really want to, this is what you can do if you really want to get this test results, just like our clients also did, not only us. If you also want to get this kind of results, C2, C1, I've taught people, and sometimes I even feel jealous of them. I have to be frank. When I, as their tutor, did not get C1 and they are getting C1, but mind you, you understand, our prayers are always that our teachers or our two students, our children, to be better than us. You understand? I had C1 parallel, but we have taught people that have C2, C1, and I'll just be looking at, oh boy, now so this thing easy. Sorry for speaking pigeon, but I just want you to understand that you can as well get this result. You understand? If you actually, one, follow Uno road. This pigeon is important. Follow Uno road. The person that knows how to go about it, follow that person. Get coached by that person. Those that have succeeded well in the race that you are trying to start or finish, please follow them. Use their materials. Use their books. Use their tricks, their tips, their guidelines. Follow it judiciously, follow it religious, and don't reinvent the wheel. Because if you reinvent the wheel and you're trying to spend time learning it again, I'll have to tell you, you will you will spend time more. It will take you more time, or it will take you equivalent time we spent learning how this works, if you are not lucky enough. So I want to tell you in this webinar that if you want to prepare, this is what works, period. I've heard a lot of people talk about so many other materials, so many other books, so many other content. But back to the question that Nelly asked, Nelson from Uganda, which study materials can you use during the preparation? Now, let me put my hand up. You understand? Like someone that wants to actually apply for asylum. Because of the gravity of this, if you want to actually pass IELTS, TEF Canada, TCF Canada, just focus on these 2 to 3 different or 4 different ways to go about it. Firstly, Cambridge English, Cambridge IELTS. See, I have found out something. There's a trick about it. If you get the series of Cambridge IELTS and you don't even finish the series 1 to 16, if you finish 1 to 8 very well, preparing well for it, focusing, doing all the 4 series in each book, that is 4 times 8, that is roughly like 32. Believe me, you are okay. You will pass IELTS. Believe me. But there's a but to it. I need to make you know. Don't do it alone. Don't be a lone shark. Do you understand? Do it with other people that know road. Do you understand? That is where prepmyfuture.com comes in. Do you understand? And A.O.S abroad comes in. And I'll still be talking about that in detail. But prepmyfuture.com is an online platform that prepares you, that gives you access. We have actually partnered with them because what we do as you understand, as an organization, is that we partner with people. We have partnered with about 4 to 5 different companies in order to help you get what you need. Do you understand? Now, Prep My Future has given us license to actually give our students, our candidates, our clients free access to their platform without paying a dime. Do you understand? Now, if you are to go on their website, you pay for it. It's not free, and you pay on a monthly basis. It's not cheap. Now, what this prepmyfuture.com does is that it gives you access. Do you understand? To free past questions, recent, not Ojogbon past question. Frequent apologies to those that are Yoruba. Frequent past questions that you need to actually use to practice and excel in IELTS. And it doesn't end there. TEF Canada, TCF, even DevDAFO, it also assists you to prepare. This is what I used. If you want to know my tip, if you want to know my tricks, this I'm telling you right now, don't reinvent the wheel. Do you understand? Just follow no road. Now, prepmyfuture.com will give you access to their past questions. See all these things that are saying. TEF d'évaluation de français, TCF entraînement intensif, les 500 exercices de grammaire avec corrigé. You understand l'expression français écrite et orale, expression et style, révision. All this, they are going to give you live access to the past questions that you need to actually use to excel, as some of my lecturers in University of Illinois will state or will speak. You need these things, do you understand, to use and excel in either IELTS, if that is only what you want to do, either TEF Canada, if that is only what you want to do, or if you want to do both. And the last tip I would give you before I round off on this point is that you need to work with MOD education, which is the body in charge of IELTS. You understand? In Nigeria, though there are different bodies, there are 2 to 3 bodies, but I found out that British Council, even though I had my first result, my first perfect result 2018 in British Council, I found out that MOD education, if you prepare well, you can easily get good scores, because the last IELTS I wrote was through MOD education. You understand? And as you could see on my result, 8.5, 9.0, I was happy with the results. You understand? I was happy with it. I was content with it. So if you want to be contented with your result, MOD education or education is what you should use for IELTS. And before you write your TEF Canada result, just like I showed you in my past experience that I shared with you, first take DELF, and DELF is cheap. TEF Canada right now, if I'm right with it, is about 200 and something thousand naira, which is about 200 300 and something, 350 something dollars. But if you do the cheap DELF, which is like $74 or something, you understand, in Nigerian currency, it's not up to 10,000. What am I even saying? It's not up to 20, 30,000. You can use that to prepare, and they always have it in sessions. Like, I think the first one is coming in, the first one in Nigeria, where I wrote mine for DEF, I wrote it around like, or they always do it around June, July. The other one is always around December. So you can actually prepare within now, do you understand? And December, to actually get to prepare and get the perfect point you require for IELTS, TEF Canada, TCF Canada, and the rest. Now, please, who is really enjoying this? Who is enjoying this? Because I see that we are really having a lot of people um going with me, understanding what I'm doing now. Please, if you really understand this, if you really enjoy this, put it on the chat section. Let me know that I really have people that are, you understand, that are going with me, that are, you understand, following and being attentive to this presentation today. Now, moving on, I want to talk about now. A lot of people try and make these tests complicated. Because when people hear about that IELTS, they can say, "Oh, no, I don't want to do that test. Oh, no, I don't want." Many people complicate these things. Some people even go and write. I've had situations of people that went to go and write 5 times, 6 times, they didn't prepare. Do you understand? And they kept on giving them nonsense scores. So please, don't complicate it. As I've given you before, don't complicate the scenario. You can complicate it when you are trying to do what, you know, what people always do, try and error until something does. Don't do it. Please, I'll just advise you, if you really want to take your thing serious, I've given you tip. Follow no road. Use the materials that were recommended. And do you understand? Follow the registration part that I've given you, that I've laid down to you now. Do you understand? And you just find out that it was actually easy. It was simple, but many things they see online makes it complicated. Now, with that, we come to the fourth thing. I'm trying to see how I can actually break down all these things. Thank you very much. It says I'm with you. Really appreciate that. Very educative and informative. Thank you, Daniel. Khadija, Bolanle, I'm following very well, very well. I like everyone for really participating in this. Now, we have been taking it a kind of circle. We talked about eligibility process, credential evaluation, language test, and now we are in winning NOC code. Now, this was the game changer for me when I was applying for PNP. And because people take it trivial, sometimes when clients come to me and I do a kind of review of their application, it may just be that little bug. That's for people that are into tech. It will just be that little bug that I just decipher, just that little bug that I technically solve, and they think I'm a genius. Meanwhile, it is something you could do yourself, but they have to pay me to actually do it for them because they don't know how to go about it. You understand? The fact you have IELTS, TEF Canada, or any other thing does not mean that you get selected if you don't have the winning NOC code. So the question now is, what is NOC? So that you don't spoil your PNP plans if not careful. Now, my own bad choice. I talked about giving my own story. I want to always talk about my own story so that you really understand what I've gone through too as well. Now, my own bad choice that almost crashed the dream of POF or PNP rather, was using the code that was not meant to allow me to get to Canada. NOC 41210, college and other vocational instructors. Because if you look at that NOC code on the internet, it will show you that yes, so anybody that is a language coach or someone that is a language teacher, that is the code that it is meant for them. And yes, they are not wrong. That is why I said what you see online, what you actually see online that you don't understand can also affect your application if you don't use it right. Now, this thing that I'm telling you right now, the NOC code, because yes, as I told you, I was a director, a CEO of A.O.S Academy. I was teaching French. That was my life. Do you understand? I was a French teacher, English teacher, French teacher. And I was preparing people for IELTS, training them for TEF Canada. But I wasn't selected. I was self-employed as a French coach, helping people, you understand, in the ancient city of Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. But I had to study the most picked NOC codes in 3 to 4 PMP draws before I got sense. It's very important. And this is how I learned it. You know, sometimes you have to learn some things by force. When I applied and the way you selecting me, I had to learn these things by force. And I don't want you to learn it by force. I want you to learn it by choice. Do you understand? And that is why you are here. The first choice that I selected for PMP, and I was so glad that my PMP finally worked with the first choice I selected. But the first choice I selected was Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, OINMP. So I checked their invitations that they have given to people. You understand? Their invitations to apply that they have issued to people. And I found out that there was a trend. Do you understand? There was a trend in the kind of people they were not just applying on entity. They were not just approving people or accepting or inviting people that they already had many of. See, language coaches, there are plenty in this place. Let me just tell you for free. And you know, I even spoil it. Some people do it for free, cheap. You understand? There are plenty. So you are not unique when you come as a language coach. So I had to check that okay, what were the kind of people they were really needing in Ontario? And with that, it made me check that okay, what I needed was to actually align one of the NOC codes that they were needing to what I could do. I checked Quebec as my second choice, PMP, and as I told you, I was invited through Quebec too. I checked their invitations, and mind you, see all those links. You can always check those links to verify these are facts. These are their original websites, their provincial websites, so there's no fluff here. So check it and also look at it. Saskatchewan, they will always tell you to download. You understand? Their SINMP, ISW, EO selection result. Download it and check what they are. See, these people even add it up back, as in they have it from now till like 2018. So this is a data that you can work with. For people that are in data science field like me, you know that we work with data. You understand? What I did was that I juxtaposed the data. I went in, I looked at the trends, and I drew out my insights that okay, this is what would make me get selected. I also looked at my fourth option, which is Prince Edward Island, because I chose the provinces that I liked. I chose the provinces that would give me what I want. I chose the provinces that I know that okay, if I start a business in this province, they can give me money. Or they can give me, you understand, free land. I chose the province that okay, if I come to this province, this one, I can have access to business, I can have access to opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities. I chose provinces that help my French. So you can decide to choose provinces based on what you want, what you need. Those are the provinces I chose. Now, the next step I took was I ran the numbers. For people that are in the data science field, I'm a data scientist, so you understand, by MSc that I'm actually doing in the University of East London, and that is a story for another day or another slide. I'll still talk about that. But I ran the numbers, the SINP numbers. I said, okay, for instance, SINP, their one is that they will write the NOC codes out. So I took time. I said, okay, let me browse these NOC codes online. I just did, okay, NOC 10010. Do you understand? Canada. And he brought it out. And I go down the name of the NOC code. I put that on my side. Do you understand? I checked it in total. That okay, this is what they need. Oh, fine. Let me just look at the one that I can key into. Tech occupations of Ontario too. I look, all those ones were even smart enough. Sorry to Saskatchewan, them too, they are smart too, but the numbers really stressed me that time. So for the Ontario immigrant nominee, they had already put the NOC code, and they had put what, the skill at the side of it, or the occupation at the side of it. So what I just did was that, okay, yeah, so this one's tech occupations, they need software engineers. Okay, I'm not software engineer. They need this and not this. They need. I started looking at it, so I was able to bring out the statistics out of what I saw. And the statistics I drew out was that, okay, if you are in the healthcare, I have not been in the healthcare. Oh boy, me, I cannot have time. I don't have patience to take care of someone. It's just the truth. So I cannot be in the healthcare. So I can beat patients. So it's better their day when I'm in my own. I cannot be in the healthcare sector. But the tech sector, I knew that, okay, I think I have some skills, some transferable, and that is what I will still talk about, transferable skills. But what I found out was that 60% of the people they were inviting for, you understand, for nominations were in the health, 50% were in the tech, 70% were people that had French skills, 30% were people that were in trades, and I'll still talk about trades. Trades are people like, you understand, mechanic, plumbers, all these people. And 80% were people with job offers. I knew that to get job offer no be wasa, especially from Nigeria, because I applied to hundreds of jobs, and guy, I no get time. I just had to leave it. You understand? So I want you to learn how I did my Canada relocation. So what I did in essence was that I asked myself, I went into a retrospective mode. I asked myself that, guy, come, look at this thing. What are you good at apart from language? Teaching. I had to ask myself some good questions inwardly. Which other work experiences do I have that I can use to move to Canada without necessarily being at the beck and call of Mama Sebo? Abi, parler la langue française. You understand? So how can I prove it? That was the third thing. Because see, Canada immigration is all about proof. If you can't prove things, then even if you are it, you will get rejected. It's just the fact. That's why study visas get rejected like shege. Even if some people say, yes, I'm rich. I had one person that came to meet me. He applied for study permit from Nigeria. He used one Oba. For people that know Obas, they are kings. He used the account of one Oba. That one had 150 million in his list account. He put down a sponsor that, okay, yes, this one have 150 million. Nothing. Go to Dikini. Canada rejected it because he doesn't have proof. There was no enough proof to back it up. The fact that you put bank statement is not proof enough for study permit. Note, but bank statement alone was the only thing I used for what? For my own POF. I'll still come to that. Don't worry. Just be enjoying my my rants. So what I'm saying is this: you have to give brilliant responses, or else you are finished. The brilliant response I came up with was that, guy, sometimes when you're doing business and you want to save up some costs, you do some things that you're meant to outsource. So I said, okay, I saw that, man, in my business, I was the one that did the web development side of it. I was into tech. It's just that I didn't study it in school. I built my website, aosacademy.com. I said, guy, you fit use this thing as experience now to show that, yes, you have experience. And he didn't went there because like play. That time when I was in Nigeria, I also built websites for people. Do you understand? Like play that, okay, guy, pay me 100K now or 50K, let me do a website for you. And people paid. So, guy, you did this thing, but you were not a web developer. You just use WordPress. In fact, sometimes I'm even using like ClickFunnels, not even in tech. It's not even like IT, coding and everything. I say, You can do this thing now. You can just say now you're a web developer and show the proofs. So basically, what I did was that I shanked for people that are Nigerians. I shanked my what? My language, my language skills, and I used transferable skills, my own self-built website, and my masters. Because as at when I was applying for PNP, I had actually applied for masters because I was intrigued about the concept of data science, and I already told, because one of the barrier of entry was that I needed to show that I had experience, even though I didn't have educational credentials in tech. So I had to show experience, and one of the experiences I showed was my website to actually get into the school, the University of East London, to study in partnership with UNICAF. So I just kind of transferred that yes, too, I can use it to show that yes, I have experience, even though I was not yet done with my masters at that particular moment. But I was able to show with my what? Proof of what? My proof of admission letter, admission offer. And you understand the transcript that I had that time to show that yes, so guy, I've not just finished though, but visa officer, do normal. I'm into tech. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that this is how you can use it today. Find out about your transferable skills without necessarily focusing on your major job or even your past education, because some people will say, how can I go into tech? I did not finish. See what I said? I said I finished linguistics, language. I was in the arts, faculty of arts. You understand? Department of linguistics and Nigerian language. It's not even foreign languages. You know, you do a strong thing because it invest me. When I was not in school, they were not telling me to learn Yoruba and to learn Hausa. I said, which one is the Yoruba and Hausa? How much that one go offer me? I have to go and study French myself in Alliance Française de Lagos. You understand? At and also like Le Village Français du Nigeria at Yaba. I say Yaba. Agbara, Badagry. But I'm trying to make you understand that you need to, after you have answered the three cardinal questions truthfully that I've talked about, you have to now start working towards using and gaining more in-demand skills in the NOC code that you have chosen to actually focus on. If you're a caregiver, use that caregiver to, even if you are a banker, but because you have experience taking care of your other kidney children and you got paid for it, use that one instead. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? So look for all those transferable skills that could become your occupation, that could become, you understand, that thing that the immigration officers will see and say, yes, so this is the kind of hot cake we are looking for. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So with that, we come to the end of the first part. And the first part, the first four processes, I do always call them the main dice sites. You know, dice. Dice is like when we are playing Ludo or playing Kini, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You understand? These are the first main dice sites. And there are only 4 steps you need for you to plan and start working on your PNP application. It is after, for instance, you have gotten approved, or you have gotten nominated, or you have gotten invited, or you have gotten your notification of interest. That is when, my brother, you can start focusing on the right hand side. My sister, you can start working on the right hand side. And most times, this is what you yourself need to work on. This one is what you need to work on. This one. These ones, other people can help you do it. Other people can help you achieve it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Please, if you are learning, oh, thank you very much. Really appreciate Daniel Boateng. You said you are learning a lot here. I'm happy. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on. Now, the natural follow-up question you may be asking is that, are there any other ways for us to actually plan and also work on our PNP applications? Wow, this is 149. I am so sorry, but if we are not able, because I like to stick to time, if we are not able to actually finish up within 2 hours, we may have to come back maybe tomorrow. Yes, I'll write down an email, or you understand, a post to talk about that. So I would like us to, because I don't want to really take much time of you. So We may, after 2 hours, we may come back tomorrow again. You understand? Same time tomorrow to now take the second half, you understand, of this presentation, because it's quite fast, it's quite much, and I'm so happy that we are on slide 84, which shows that we have really gone through a lot, but still we still have quite a lot to do, because I want to give you everything that we have today. So just note that because this is 150 already, 1 hour 50 minutes. Now, what am I saying in essence? The simple answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, there are other ways, but no, you don't need to focus on the other ways to plan and to work on your immigration. So what are the other ways? Let's quickly move on. You on your own cannot plan and work on the other processes alone. These ones that are on the empty box, you can't do it alone. You need other people to do it on your behalf. And it's very simple, because the IRCC official reasons for this, I'll state it right now so that you understand what I'm trying to say. One, the first stage, before we even talk about what is in them, to understand the set of these stages, I call those people, the people that would help you do these stages, I call them the four-time dice sides. You understand? The four-time dice sites. And why did I call it that? Because the first ones, the one at the left, you focus on these for your documentations and your processes. You are the one that focus on it. But these ones, it is time that will take you to actually achieve these ones, and other people would help you to actually do it within time. Now, I always tell people, understand this, please. If you understand this, you will not waste time focusing on something that you are not meant to focus on. People always ask me, "Oh, I want to migrate to Canada, but I need a job to migrate. I want to get a job offer before I migrate." Oh boy, you are not serious yet, though. Because I didn't get a job before I relocated to Canada. Even till now, my brothers and sisters, I have not gotten a, or let me say, I have not searched for a job for myself. Let me put that straight, because you still see where I showed you how I've started a business which is recognized by Canada. You understand? But I have not searched because I don't need it. Because as I said, I started a business. I'm continuing my business here. Now, what I'm trying to say is that imagine snatching the meal of a lion or a lioness or a tiger in the wild. Can you snatch it as a human being? That is how Canadian job offer is. But in order to elaborate, let me elaborate more. The first way I and many of my partners, I'll still talk about them subsequently. Immigration lawyer, that is my partner. What they call it, licensed immigration consultant, who is my partner, and some job recruiters who are part of our partners. Because I told you we partner with quite a lot of people. Now, many options. I found out that the first way we spot people that are not serious, clients that are not serious, applicants that are not serious, is job search. When they say, "Okay, I cannot get to Canada until I get a job." See, let me tell you, many options are available for you to relocate to Canada without necessarily having a job offer. And that's why sometimes we don't even focus on British Columbia, because those ones will say you have to get a job offer before you get their provincial knowledge. We don't, if you are not in Canada already as an international student, you understand, or as a visitor, or as a worker, temporary worker, I will tell you your chances of getting a job from Nigeria is 2%. And that 2%, the reason why I do put it as 2% is because God can help you, which is the Alpha and Omega, to get it after hundreds of applications. And two, if even though it is not official, if you pay for a job by someone to get to Canada, but it's not official, IRCC must not know that you are paying for a job. Do you understand? It's not official. Some people do it, I hear it, but I tell you, I don't do it, I don't focus on it, and I will not advise you to do it, because many of them get scammed. Do you understand? By actually paying for those jobs. Now, Lion in this first thing that I talked about is equivalent to Canadian citizens in the wilderness or in the wild. The lions that I'm using in this slide is referred to as The Canadian citizens, who are the people that own the jungle. And where's the jungle? Yeah, the jungle is Canada. Canadian job, what? Canadian job market. Two, the tiger are the permanent residents like me. Because before an employer will say that they want to give you, whether be it international student, visitor visa, worker, temporary worker, or even someone that is in limbo, they will first give me. Even if they know that yes, so this person is still need some training, and you're already like BSc, MSc, PhD, DDT, MT. I'm having fun here, my guys. Hope you two you're having fun. Hyenas, if you are not a hyena, if you don't have qualified, you understand, certifications, and you are not patient enough, you are not a job seeker that is relentless, my brothers and sisters, see, don't try it if you are not a hyena. And the meal is the job offer which you want to snatch from lions and tigers. If you are a crocodile or any other okay, crocodile we won't try, crocodile will try to snatch. But if you are not part of all those things, see, the world is an unforgiving labor job market. Do you understand? These people that are even new Canadians, see all these ones that are showing the flag, that shows that they just got their citizenship. They will get those jobs. You understand? Spit it out. Get other jobs, spit it out, get other job before an employer will look at you to actually give you that job. Now, people with PR cards like me too, we get those jobs easily. You understand? Before you. So it's best, as I say to our people, to get here first before you focus on that. Now, the second way to spot on serious applicants is not job search. I made a mistake there. It's proof of funds. People will say, I'm still trying to gather my proof of funds. Or no, not even that. Some people will say, how much is the proof of? Yeah, it's too much. I cannot. You are not serious. That's just the truth. I've forgotten. See, if you want to be serious, you have to grow up, please. And the reason why I'm using some of these words here is to make you understand that POF, proof of funds, should never be a reason for you not to either be planning or even applying for PNP. Because this is one of the most easiest things you can do now. In PNPs, you just need to write. They'll tell you. And I changed my own PNP 3 times. I will still talk about that. It's still another thing. Because I put one amount there the first time. When I put it there, I say, this amount is just for only me. And I want my common law to come with me. It's writing, maybe his number, you just type it form. You understand? Online form. I just put 14,000 the first time. I say, no, my common law partner has added do. I put 70,000. Then I put 20,000. And you know the funny thing, you can change, but in international student visa, work visa, all those things, if you are not certain, if you don't put things that they want to, they have disapproved you. But it doesn't happen in PNP like that. So there are so many ways out there you can get your POF sorted. Some people even use money lenders. Yes, those ones I know that they are quite legit. You understand the ones, and there are some that are scams, so you have to be careful. So you can use money lenders without breaking the bank. You understand? And you can do all other things to get your POF, and it is going to be a legit one that you would not actually waste time and money on. So like this Nigerian guy says, please don't be unwise. Because many people focus on things that they shouldn't be focusing on. Don't be unwise. Get other people to actually do these things for you, and be like Oriyeton Honor that always think is the one that is wise and other people are not wise. So the third place in your application for Provincial Nominee Program is for you to make sure that you are admissible to enter Canadian borders. Now, this is very absolutely important, but still, you are not the one that will do it directly. You will do it indirectly. You will get other people to do it for you. And what I mean is, you can't be the doctor and be, you understand, putting yourself or putting a syringe on your body. So you have to make sure you have no criminal records with the police back at home and abroad. Maybe, for instance, if you have stayed in one place, maybe like 3 months more or 6 months more, you have to get the police clearance certificate of that country too. For me, for instance, I went to Benin Republic, as I told you, when I went to learn French to perfect my French language. And I just spent a day there. Even the second time I went, I think I went like 2 weeks. So it was not substantial enough. And even the 2 weeks that I went, I didn't use my international passport. Then I used my, you understand, le village français du Nigeria, la carte d'identité. You understand? I used my identity card. So my identification card that I used made me enter the border and come out without really stamping my visa the second time, because I was looking at is it only Nigeria country, and the African countries may I want to be stamping the passport for. So the first time when I went for excursion, due to the ruling of the, you understand, center, the second time I said no, I don't want to stamp passports, because and they will not look at my passport. They will not say that, okay, this guy has been stamping Benin Republic. That's rubbish. So even though it's expired without me finally using it to travel to other making sense countries, I still appreciate that at least I did not waste the with all these African countries with visa. So that being said, just to create a kind of humor, you have to be honest with people. Be honest with the panel of physicians who are going to be in charge of actually getting your medical records right. Don't lie to them. Don't what do they call it? Don't paint a picture that is not. Do you understand? And try not to have fatal illnesses. If you have it, already have treated it before you are being advised to actually go for your medicals. And if you have criminal records, try to sort it out, you understand, before you actually get your criminal clearance certificate from the police headquarters. So lastly, I think this is where we will stop for today before we come tomorrow, because this is already 2 hours straight and I would not really like to take your time further. So what I'm saying is after the both PNP and federal IRCC application, or within the both PNP and federal IRCC applications, you have to take the last step, and the last step is the biometrics and visa. The biometrics and visa, if IRCC asks you to submit biometrics, is different from when they ask you to do it during study permit application or visitor visa application or work permit application. IRCC can still, in fact, the rate of rejections after biometrics, after asking for biometrics, is higher for temporary residents compared to permanent residents. Permanent residents, if you submit biometrics, they can just tell you that, okay, there was one additional document they want you to submit that you should submit. They rarely reject your visa application after they have asked you for biometrics. But some of you may have been here. Okay, maybe I should just ask, how many of you have done study permits before, or work permit before, visitor visa, and even after the biometrics, they rejected your visa? How many of you? Just so that if I'm lying, I should know. So let's just know. You understand? If you have actually applied for any Canadian visa, let me just know, please. Let's just be honest. We are just having fun here. So what I'm trying to say is, IRCC, once they ask you for biometrics, that shows that you already have a higher chance of getting the visa. And most times after the biometrics, they will just tell you to go and submit your what? Your passport. Once you submit your international passport, most times, even all times, I can say almost like 99.9% times, they are willing to give you the visa already. Do you understand? They are willing to give you the visa either for express entry or for the sole PNP application process. So with that, we come to the end of this particular session of the webinar. I would love to really talk more, but I see that if we are to continue now, we'll really take much time to finish up. So tomorrow, as I said, I would like us to come back tomorrow to actually take the last part of, and what we have, it will still take us some fairly amount of time, but it won't be that much again. So if we have any questions, please, let's just take it, what do you call it? Let's kind of leave it till tomorrow, please. So you can just drop it now. Tomorrow we'll create another link for us to actually have this conversation again, because I know it's about 7:06 right now in Nigeria, and some other places too would really be having it. What do they call it now? Okay, so that being said, thank you very much everyone for actually joining us today. Please join us same time tomorrow, Sunday, to actually take the second part of this presentation. We are going to really dive in deep tomorrow, and in fact I'm going to give you some actions, some step-by-step actions to actually do, you understand, tomorrow. So please don't forget to actually join us, and also invite more people. Let more people watch this today, you understand, and tomorrow we can actually come to finish up what we actually started. So tomorrow is going to be literally the part B of what we started today. So thank you very much, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead, and bye for now. Bye, everyone.